Good morning. Welcome back to the channel. It's Tuesday, February 28th. I'm going to pick up my story from where I left off in part 2. But first, I would like to let you know that going forward, my plan is to post weekly videos for the most part, and I will post them on Sunday mornings. That includes the videos for my section hike that I really hope happens in the month of May. Okay, now that that is taken care of, as you can see, we had some snow here in Pennsylvania. Not as much as I would like, but nevertheless, snow. Oh my gosh, it's barely snowed this winter. It barely snowed last winter, and it snowed even less this winter. Okay, back to the story. We left off yesterday with me and the younger son moving to Florida in the summer of 2004. But I want to back up again. I told you, it's a long story. I want to back up again because I want to talk about a couple of events that took place in the 26-year period of my bitter angerness toward God. And I want to talk about it because it points out and glorifies God's great mercy and compassion for sinners. When my oldest was born, when I was 22 in 1985, I was hoping for a son. And I was hoping for a son with blonde hair and blue eyes. Or maybe not blonde hair, but blue eyes. I thought, man, it would be so cool if I had a son and he had blonde hair and blue eyes. I will name him after my father, Robert, who passed away when I was 16. And do you know what happened? Can you guess? I had a son with blonde hair and blue eyes. And now you might be thinking, what's the big deal about that? Well, I have dark skin, dark brown eyes, and back then, dark brown hair like my father. And Robert's father also had dark brown hair, dark skin, and dark brown eyes. And now, all these years later, I still marvel at the fact that God, in his compassion and mercy, did something for me that he didn't have to do. He doesn't have to do anything for us. All right, and now fast forward to, I can't remember the exact time that this happened, but it was, I'm gonna say maybe 1992, between 1991 and 1993, after I was out of the Air Force, when I came home, I took a job at a local hospital on a telemetry unit, which is a step-down unit for people that are critically ill. And we took care of people with renal failure and possible heart attacks and strokes and those sorts of patients. And they would be, telemetry means that they're still attached to the heart monitors and pulse oximeters and oxygen and all that stuff. I worked the night shift, and we were all sitting at the desk. All of us nurses were sitting at the desk at midnight taking our break. It was around midnight when one of the patients, her nurse, looked up and suddenly noticed that her monitor was flatlined. So she went into the patient's room to check on her, and then she called us because her patient was in fact in cardiac arrest, and she started to do CPR on her. She didn't even do it for a full minute when she remembered that this particular patient had a DNR order, which means do not resuscitate. So this is pretty common in elderly people or people with terminal diseases, and they know it's just a matter of when they're going to pass away, so they don't want extreme measures done for them. So she stopped, we stopped, went back to the desk, called the resident that was on call to come and pronounce her dead, and he showed up probably like 15 minutes later, went in to assess the patient, and she still had no pulse, no respirations. So he wrote the order pronouncing her dead with the time of death and went on his way. After that, we resumed our break because it's the middle of the night, nobody's there, no visitors. So we resumed our break with the intention of doing postmortem care after our break. So our break is 15 minutes. After that, the nurse went back in to do postmortem care on her patient. And then she called us again, and she sounded really alarmed. And we all went running into the room. The patient, who had been pronounced dead 15 minutes after literally being dead, was not dead anymore. She had been moving in the bed, trying to sit up. She had a pulse. It was weak. It was slow. We hooked her all back up to the monitors and proceeded to be astounded and watch her all night long as her heart rate grew faster and stronger and her breathing became more even and regular, and we were, to put it mildly, blown away. That was the night that I started to believe in God again. But even though I believed in God again, I was still angry at him, and I was not as angry at him, but I was still not regenerated. From that moment on, though, I had no doubt in my life that I had broken something. And at that time, I thought that I had broken it forever, and that there was no coming back from that. And instead of that event drawing me to God, it made me hide from him even harder. It made me do even more depraved things, because I figured, well, why not? I'm going to hell anyway. I might as well have a good time on my way. So basically, today's gonna end at, I broke it and I didn't know how to fix it. I hope you'll stick around for the next part, because it just keeps getting better and better. And I love God so much now, as I tell you all the time. And I hope that my story will be encouraging to you if you are a believer, or bring out curiosity in you to wonder if this God is really who he says he is. I believe it. I know it's true. And that's what I hope for you as well. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.